Good evening there, ladies and gents. And this evening I'm going to be taking a brief look at Good Will Hunting, which was a 1997 film and an early vehicle for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They actually wrote this film, the duo. They wrote the screenplay and starred in it, and it was their big break in Hollywood. Matt Damon, of course, has gone on to become one of Hollywood's best paid leading actors. Um, and Ben Affleck, although his career wasn't quite as successful as Damon's for quite a while, he now has made somewhat of a comeback and a resurgence with his directing career, such as The Town and more recently Argo, which won the Best Picture at the Oscars. Um, this is where they got their big start, and of course I wanted to watch this film again because of the involvement of Robin Williams in it. And he does an extraordinary job in this film. I mean, this is possibly one of the highlights of an already brilliant career of Robin Williams. He plays a psychiatrist who is hired to straighten out a young man, played by Matt Damon, who is a genius level mathematician who is wasting away and idling away all of his talent. Instead of getting a prestigious job with the NSA cracking codes or with some high tech computing firm, he's wasting away his days being a janitor and getting in fist fights with ruffians locally and going on drunken benders with his friends. And he's just burning out. And a college professor wants this guy to crack some theorem for him. And so he hires his friend Robin Williams, the psychiatrist, to straighten the guy out. And Damon and Williams are both great in this film. And this film actually secured Robin Williams an Oscar. He won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this movie. And it's one of his serious roles. It's not a comic role. And I think he was equally as adept a serious actor as he was a comic actor. And the first scene when he meets Damon in his psychologist's office, you can see them both trying to one-up each other. They're trying to find the other's chink in their armor, their weakness, and just hone in on it, and do their Hannibal Lecter thing, like undermine each other, and find their insecurity and expose it. And Robin Williams keeps his cool for a few minutes, and while Damon's trying to pick away at him. These books, all these psychology books, do you actually read all of these? They're not that impressive. Williams keeps his cool. No, I don't, they're not really that impressive. No, not really. He doesn't let him get to him. And eventually, Damon finds his sore spot. He says something like, "You married the wrong woman, didn't you?" And instantly, Williams just grabs him by the throat. And he's like, "If you ever disrespect my wife again, I will end you." And he certainly found his weakness there. The film is a very life-affirming movie about finding your place in the world and your destiny and deciding what you want to do and just seizing opportunities. The message is quite similar to the message in Williams' own Dead Poets Society. It's a similar message to the Carpe Diem message in that film. Seize the day. Do whatever your heart tells you to do. And this film features some touching scenes and some really wonderful performances from Robin Williams and Matt Damon, especially the scene when Robin Williams is talking to Matt Damon on a park bench and telling him that you can't judge everything about a person just from looking at pictures or books. And he says that Damon is a punk kid, like a cocky little youth who doesn't have any world experience. He's just read things in books, and you can't get all of your knowledge from books. He tells him, have you ever actually experienced battle? Have you been in a war? Have you actually ever woken up next to a woman? Have you ever truly loved a woman in the way that I have? Have you actually had one make you feel vulnerable, and one that's like your guardian angel that rescues you from your personal hell? It's just a really wonderful scene, and if you see this movie, you'll know which scene I mean. It's just a masterclass in acting. Williams is extraordinary in that scene. The screenplay is almost too good. Like, you can't imagine that two young men in their 20s wrote it. Some have disputed whether or not Matt Damon and Ben Affleck actually wrote this film. Well, I don't know about that. It's kind of insulting to suggest that they didn't write it themselves. sure, they could have written it. Like this, it kind of goes with the message of the movie. Like a young man can be such a genius mathematician without any previous study or knowledge or exposure to these things. He just did it on his own terms. Um, so why couldn't they have written this screenplay? It's very mature for two young men. This screenplay, it's just phenomenal. And it is possible Robin Williams ad-libbed that whole scene in the park. He was well known for ad-libbing scenes in his movies. Um, so it is possible he did that in that instance. There's so many scenes that you could cite in this movie as classics. The bar scene is a classic too, when this jerk, Michael Bolton clone, is trying to impress some girls, and he tries to embarrass Ben Affleck's character in front of them, and Matt Damon puts him in his place by outsmarting him with his intelligence, and he gets the girl's interest that way. It is a really well written and funny scene, and there's so many classics. Another classic scene is when Robin Williams is telling Matt Damon about this famous baseball game from the 1970s, and how this guy scored a home run, and everyone was rushing the field, and I had tickets to this game. And Matt Damon's like, "Oh, no way, did you rush the field?" And he says, Robin Williams says, "No, I didn't rush the field, because I wasn't there. I was in a bar having a drink with my future wife. I had to quit the game to go and see about a girl." And Matt Damon can't believe that he would go and have a drink with a girl that he never met before instead of watch this amazing game. But Williams saw what was in his heart and he just did what he had to do. And that's what this film is about. It's about just seizing opportunities and just going for things and doing what your heart tells you to do. Damon makes the argument that what's wrong with laying bricks? What's wrong with being a construction worker? Those are noble professions. They put food on people's tables. They create buildings for people to live in. That's somebody's house. And that's a good point. Like, there is nothing wrong with those professions. There's room in the world for both academics and bricklayers, construction workers. They're all professions. And whatever you're good at, whatever makes you happy, go for it. And this is a really well-made drama, and it's even more powerful now that Robin Williams is no longer with us. He will be very sadly missed. Oh, there's another funny scene that I forgot to mention. Ben Affleck pretends to be Matt Damon's character in a job interview, and he goes into the interview, and these guys want him so badly for the job that they offer to give him money over the table, and he says he wants a retainer. You'll know which scene I mean. It's a great film. Enjoy it, everyone. This is Adam Walton signing out. I'll have some more reviews for you shortly.